All right, so we got collector boosters. Um, so that's what this box right here is. That just means I dropped a bunch. I opened up one pack because the friend of mine who bought it for me while I was at work wanted to see what was in it. So first one we got was Pilot, right? So we can go ahead and set those off into the corner. But we'll start off with this land right here. It's really cool. I like these lands. They look super great. They're foil. They're delicious. So I'll go ahead and set the lands here. We got a couple of sagas. So this is the White Saga. Restoration of Veganjo. Basically, it goes through and then it flips over, becomes a creature. It's really neat. It's not the best, but it's cool. Sophie turned 1, by the way, today. Behold the Unspeakable is another one. Looks amazing. Sophie, Figgle says happy birthday. She says thank you. So we got a bunch of really cool things here. I got Invoke Despair, which is a fun card. Because it's a collector booster, every single one of these are going to be foil. So just bear with me through that. So there's that sorcery. There's this one, which is super interesting. Just deals damage. And then we got the board wipe that I was looking for. So that's super cool. Time away was good. Felt like an eternity. I bet. Until I said happy birthday. Preston says happy birthday, Sophie. So let's see here. Creature-wise, we'll put that one in the back. First card we have here, right? Network Disruptor. Enters battlefield, tap a permanent. Blink effect control sort of thing. I think it'll be really neat. Here's what we'll do. We'll put like that, and then we'll put it in rarity order. This being most rare. Most rare ones will go up there. This is an artifact that does a really interesting thing. Basically, when it enters the battlefield, put a charge counter on it, and then you can sacrifice it with 4 mana, and it deals damage to equal to the number of charge counters to target player, and that much damage up to one creature. So that one's super cool. I don't know how useful it's going to be, but we'll see how it is. Not that she'll understand. True. So we got a ninja. Basically a bat, but it says human ninja, so I like the new cut. Thank you, thank you. I got it a couple of days ago, something like that. This is a creature that I'm really excited for, Matt, for an Enchantress deck. It's a 4/4 that costs 1 colorless less to cast for each enchantment you control, and it's a 4/4 flyer in white, which is like amazing, I think. Here we have Heiko Yamazaki, the General. Whenever samurai you control attacks alone, you may cast a target artifact from your graveyard this turn. And how can Titus get hotter? That's a great question. If I actually try to clean myself up, that's how that works. But I think that would be a really cool like Voltron commander where even if your artifacts get destroyed, you can attack, put stuff there, find a way to like mill a bunch of stuff. You want me to stretch? I appreciate that. I don't have my headphones set up so I can stretch super easy. But I actually needed it. Holy crap. Oh. I'm just going to put these on like normal because I feel like it's getting in the way. You're also more than welcome to talk. Okay. Dokuchi Shadow Walker. This is just a 5/5 with ninjutsu. 5/5 for 4 is not bad, but this could be better. It is a common. Ruthless Technomancer, 2/4 for 4. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature you control. If you do, create a number of treasure tokens equal to that creature's power. That could be really powerful. It feels like black. Why can't I think of that name? It's Goblin. Dockside Extortionist. It's Black Dockside. So I think that one's going to be super cool. Another stretch. What do you want me to stretch this time? Goro Goro. 2/2 that gives creatures haste and can create giant dragons. Super on board with that. And the one that I've been looking for the most, Prosperous Thief, because I'm building Yuriko right now, so this is going to be really cool. It's a 3/2 ninja. Stretch your butthole. Oh gosh. it's a it's a 3/2 thief that says, or ninja rather, that says whenever one or more ninja or rogue creatures you control deal damage to a player, create a treasure token. So that's gonna just partner really well with Yuriko, and it's gonna be great. Now we're actually gonna open the next pack. Don't forget to stretch your legs. I actually did that before I sat down because I can't sit down for super long if I don't. So, first card on the back, we got our token. Super shiny spirit token. And then the other side is a pilot. Alright, so now we got the top here. Seven-Tail Mentor. When it enters the battlefield or dies, put a 1/1 counter on target creature or vehicle you control. It's okay. I like your amazing hoodie. The hoodie is amazingly comfortable. Thank you for supplying this for me. Kitsune Ace is a fox pilot. Whenever a vehicle you control attacks, choose one. Gains first strike at on turn or on tap. Not bad. We've got an automaton that has ward. Interesting. 1/1 for 2. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, put a 1/1 counter on Patchwork Automaton. I'm not entirely sure about that one, but we'll see how it goes. Upriser Renegade. Basically gets +2/+0 for each other modified creature you control. That'd be really good for a specific style of deck. Modification is basically any time that a creature has a counter on it, it's modified. So if it gets +1/+1, if it gets poison counters, if it gets -1/-1, trample, things like that. So Kumano faces Kakazan. It is a enchantment saga for 1. When it deals 1 damage to each opponent and each planeswalker they control. Saga 2 is when you cast a creature spell this turn, that creature enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 on it, so it comes in modified. And Saga 3 is exile this saga, then return it to the battlefield under your control transformed. It comes in and it has haste, so Wizards was trying to do something where like it would exile and then come back in, and then the creature wouldn't have the ability to attack this turn, but they gave this creature haste, so it doesn't even matter. If a creature dealt damage this turn by a source you control but die, exile it instead. Interesting. We got another one of these planes. This one also looks really cool. It's super rainbowy on the camera. It's not as rainbowy in person, but that honestly the basic lands are what I was most excited for, just because they look super cool, and putting those in a deck are going to be really nice. All right, now we're moving on to Guardians of Oboro, which is a Moonfolk Samurai 3/4 Defender. Modified creatures you control can attack as though they didn't have Defender. Okay, so we've got modification in blue and red and white so far. Peerless Samurai, 2/3 with Menace. Whenever a Samurai or Warrior attacks alone, the next spell you cast costs 1 generic less to cast. Alright, now we're getting into the the uncommons, and then it'll get into the rares, and we'll see if we get a mythic this time around. It's a 2/4 for 3 with Ninjutsu 2. Whenever Covert Tactician deals damage to a player, you may put an artifact card with mana value less than or equal to that damage from your hand onto the battlefield. Okay. That's just kind of artifact ramp. Does Yuriko run a lot of artifacts, Matt? Do you know? I think that'd be really cool. I'm a menace. I'm a menace, a dentist, an oral hygienist. Oh wait, this isn't Eminem. What? You trying to rap over there? This 2/2 ninjutsu 3. When it enters the battlefield, return up to 1 target creature to its owner's hand, so it's a bounce effect. We got another Invoke Despair. Smoke Spirit's Aid. For each of up to X target creatures, create a red aura enchantment token named Smoke Blessing attached to that creature. Those tokens have enchant creature, and when enchanted creature dies, it deals 1 damage to its controller, and you create a treasure token. That's a backwards way of ramping. Here we have a sorcery, brilliant recommendation. Return all artifacts and enchantments from your graveyard to the battlefield. More fun enchantress things. And I got it! This is the card I was after. This card's already like $35. Non-foil. With foil, it's probably close to $45, maybe $50. And then we have Shigeki Jukai Visionary. It's a 1/3 for 2 Snake Druid legendary enchantment creature. For 2 mana, tap, return it to its owner's hand, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tapped and put the rest into your graveyard. And for channel, discard him, return X target non-legendary cards from your graveyard to your hand. Fascinating. Big boy bonsai, that's what I'm talking about. Hydrate, I gotta go get some water for that. I will be right back. Yes, of course. So second pack, we already got the biggest hit in the set, in my opinion. That's going to be a card that's run in every single green deck that can run it, just because it is removal, or it's a land, and in some graveyard recursion decks, that's going to be both. Of course. Amazing. On to pack 3. Well, if I can even open it. Hey, Josert, how's it going? Just opening packs on stream. Got a schmancy samurai token. Double side. It's a fancy treasure token? What the heck? That's amazing. That's the one I'm going to be using from now on. Long time no see, good, and you? I've been doing pretty good. Just enjoying time, opening up a bunch of packs, and seeing what I get. I got to basically see a little bit of the spoilers online, so I knew what I was after. Basically, I pulled this already, which is the card that I was after. So I'm already happy with this set. Here we are, Iron Apprentice. It enters the battlefield with a 1/1 on it. It's a 0/0 for 1. When it dies, if it had counters on it, put those counters on target creature you control. It just moves 1/1 counters for modifications. Imperial Oath. It's a 6 mana cost sorcery. Create 3/2/2 white samurai creature tokens with vigilance and scry 3. That is doing a lot, but it costs a lot. I don't think it's going to be super good. Twin Shot Sniper, 2/3 for 4 with reach, and when it enters the battlefield, deals 2 damage to any target, or you could discard it and it deals 2 damage to any target. So this is a really interesting one, because channel ability is basically uncounterable. Is Metal Gear Solid Rising good? I have no idea. I know the Phantom Pain is really good. Oni Cult Anvil. Whenever one or more artifacts you control leave the battlefield during your turn, create a 1/1 colorless construct artifact creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn. Sacrifice an artifact. Oni Cult Anvil deals 1 damage to each opponent. You gain 1 life. If it wasn't only once each turn, I think that would be super good. Otherwise, eh. Era of Enlightenment. Super neat. Scry 2, gain 2 life, and then you transform it, and it becomes a 2/2 with first strike. Pretty simple. Pretty great. We got the Swamp. Oh, my goodness. I just love that. Imperial Subduer. We've already seen one of those. A Ganjo Exemplar. Inkrise Infiltrator. We'll just go to the rares after a couple of them, because we're going to be getting a lot of repeats for the uncommons and commons. So Tamashi, Reality Architect. Whenever one or more non-creature permanents are returned to hand, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn, and for white, so it's actually an Azorius commander. Love the background. Thank you, thank you. It's Black Lotus. It's very fun. Return a land you control to its owner's hand. Return target artifact or enchantment card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only once as a sorcery. So, that's bound to be super interesting. I can see a lot of really fun stuff that you can do with it. But it looks like it's going to be artifact bouncing, and it's mostly going to be playing the game with yourself and less interaction with other people. Skydrive Awakener. It's a 4/4 for 6, and other creatures you control have flying. It has flying as well. When it enters the battlefield, there we go. When it enters the battlefield until end of turn, each non-creature artifact you control becomes an artifact creature with base power 4/4. So for artifact strategies, it just becomes really, really big. Springleaf Avenger. It's a green ninja. I don't know if I've seen anyone that's like this. But when it deals damage to a player, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. So that is going to be niche. I think it'll be interesting, though. Another Invoke Despair. And Invoke Calamity. I really like this card. Whenever you cast 2 instant and or sorcery spells with total mana value 6 or less from your graveyard and or your hand without paying their mana costs, if those spells would be put into your graveyard, exile them instead, and then exile Invoke Calamity. That's a really bursty type of card. Yeah, it's like a Yu-Gi-Oh effect. In a way, yeah. Just because it allows you to do basically two 6-mana value things for 5 mana. So you're effectively utilizing 12 mana if you have it available. On to the next pack. We got our token. We got Bamboo, Suit Up. We have Boon of Beseiju. This is the Mountain. Freaking sick. Yeah, there's Skyblast Samurai, Selfless Samurai. 1/1 Death Touch. Okay, here we go. Got our first Mythic. The Wandering Emperor for 4. It has Flash, and as long as it enters the battlefield this turn, you may activate her loyalty abilities anytime you can cast an instant. Put a 1/1 counter on up to one target creature against first strike until end of turn. Create a 2/2 white samurai creature token. Exile tapped creature. You gain 2 life. So this is a way to prevent some damage done if that's the case. Access denied. Counter target spell. Create X/1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying where X is the spell's mana value. It's really high CMC for a counter spell. I'm not sure how much it's going to be used, but it could be interesting. We have the restoration of a Ganjo. Turns into a creature. Tatsunari Toad Rider. I've been actually really interested in this because it is a Sultai commander. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, if you don't control a creature named Kami, create Kami, who's a legendary 3/3 black frog creature token with, whenever you cast an enchantment spell, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. And then you can make both of them untargetable. I think that's a really cool Sultai enchantment commander. And I now have a full art Beseiju. So that's cool. That's exciting. Okay, so we've got Spirit, Treasure. Okay. Moon Circuit Hacker is another card I was after just because I'm building Yuriko. It's a 2/1 for 2, and it has Ninjutsu 1. Whenever Moon Circuit Hacker deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card unless Moon Circuit Hacker entered the battlefield this turn. So it's a draw spell. If you use the ninjutsu. This is actually the first other type of land that we got. It enters the battlefield tapped, and then you gain a life in Is It. Got Bronze, Cudgels, Essence Capture. It's a 2-mana counter target spell and put a 1/1 counter on up to one target creature you control. That's actually a better counter spell. We have Black Saga. We have this really neat like back alleyway swamp. That's super cool. We have yet to get a forest or a pog, super pog, I know. But we have yet to get a forest or an island. Okay, we have our first March card. March of Burgeoning Life. As an additional cost to cast a spell, you may exile any number of green cards from your hand. The spell costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled this way, and then you can choose a target creature with mana value less than X. Search your library for a creature card with the same name as that creature, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Tanuki Transplanter. It's a 2/4 for 4 with Reconfigure 3. Whenever it uh, whenever it or an equipped creature attacks. Wow, I just had like a really bad like speech impediment thing happen there. I don't know what just happened. I just had a stroke. I've been reading too many words. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. So basically, modified creatures will add green. So it's kind of like an extra step Gaia's Cradle in a way, just not going to be nearly as good. And I think that's super neat. Lion Sash is an artifact creature equipment cat. Okay. Exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a permanent card, put a 1/1 counter on Lion Sash. Equipped creature gets 1/1 for each 1/1 counter on Lion Sash and Reconfigure 2. Oh, that's how that works. Reconfigure is basically it's a creature that turns into an equipment. So that one's super new. Inventive Iteration. Return up to one target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. Return an artifact card from your graveyard to your hand if you can't draw a card. Exile this saga, then return it onto the battlefield. It becomes a 3/3. Living Breakthrough. And we got Ishin, 2 heavens as 1. So it's going to cause a lot of attack triggers, and I think it could be a really cool, like, human tribal or Voltron. It depends on how you want to play it, but look at the art in this. It's super neat. We have 7 more packs. Only 7. I know. I know, I know. We'll be just ignoring most of the commons and uncommons. Samurai. Ninja. Okay. Unless something, is interesting. Like this one. It's a 1/1 for 2. tap for 1, or as long as it's modified, you can tap it for 2. Hey, we got our forest. Let's go. Yeah, that's awesome. That's effectively the hidden leaf village right there from Naruto. Mono red card filtering, something to keep in mind. Okay, so we got the blue version of Sasuke Naruto. We got the blue version of Boseiju. Tap, add a blue or channel for 4, discard it, and then return target artifact, creature, enchantment, or planeswalker to its owner's hand. This ability costs 1 less to cast for each legendary creature you control. So with your commander alone, it's going to cost 3, and then with other creatures, it's going to cost 2. That's why Boseiju... I got another one, by the way. Holy crap. That's why it's so good, because the channel ability drops to 1 whenever you have your commander out. Research Thief. 3/3 for 5 with flash and flying. Whenever an artifact creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. And then we have this Mindlink Mech. It's a 4/3 for 3. It's a vehicle. It crews for 1, so it's actually really cheap. Whenever it becomes crewed for the first time each turn, until end of turn, it becomes a copy of target non-legendary creature that crewed it this turn, except it's a 4/3. It's a vehicle artifact in addition to its other types, and it has flying. Interesting. I think there's a lot of really interesting synergy that you can do with that, especially since it's in blue. And the last one we've got is a mythic, our second mythic of this whole box. It's a 3/1 for 2 artifact creature equipment demon menace. Equipped creature has base power and toughness of 5/5, has menace, and is a black demon in addition to its other types. It reconfigures for 4. So you can effectively think of this as an artifact that's a 3/1, and then when you equip it to somebody else, it becomes a 5/5, and it has all the same abilities. Super cool, really interesting. Spirit, human monk. Those are the two sides. And we have our island. It's a waterfall. Super neat. Cloudsteel Kirin. Finished watching Peacemaker? How was that? This is a really interesting card. It says equipped creature has flying and you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game. So it's a flying blocker, 3/2 in white, but you can equip it to another creature and then you can't lose the game. So you can, for example, Necropotence all the way down to less than 1 life, and because you can't lose the game, you're in a pretty good spot. One with the Kami. It's a 4 mana enchantment aura with flash. Enchant creature you control. Whenever enchanted creature or another modified creature you control dies, create X/1/1 colorless spirit creature tokens where X is that creature's power. We have the white land. Which card is the whole card right now in Magic? Is the whole card right now in Magic the Gathering? Like the one that's sought after the most? Probably Boseiju, but there's so many copies of it in this one right here. I'm not entirely positive. I'm not entirely positive that it's going to be valued very high for very long. But Eiganjo is the white version of Boseiju. Taps for white, or it says discard it, and Seat of the Empire, it deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature, and it costs 1 less to cast for each legendary creature you control. So it's helpful to get your cards through, or to get your like commander through if you're playing a white Voltron. Okay, first multicolor card. Satsuki, the Living Lore, Selesnya, legendary creature, human druid, 1/3. Tap, Put a lore counter on each saga you control, activate only as a sorcery, and when it dies, return target saga or enchantment to the battlefield you you control under its owner's hand, or return target card from your graveyard to your hand. That's going to be an interesting commander, but I don't think it's going to be super great. Did you get the chance a Besagial in full art foil by chance? I think I have foil, and I think I have full art. I don't think I have a full art foil. That one's foil. That one's full art. That one's foil. Unless that counts as a full art foil. And this one just counts as an alternate art. Who knows? Because I just looked up the prices and oh man, how much is it right now? What do you think is the most annoying card in the game? Ah, Winter Orb. I hate that card. And the last card in this is a 5/5 artifact vehicle for 4 Surge Hacker mech. Enters the battlefield, deals damage equal to twice the number of vehicles you control to target creature or planeswalker. It may. So the full art foil is 73.54, and the full art foil is 60. Oh my gosh! Wow. Okay. So I mean, those are both foils. So I'm off to a pretty good start. So you just scored a bit. Yeah, I did. Holy shit. Got the Dimir tap life gain land. Got another forest, but it's one in the sky. It's like got paper birds. I wonder how much these lands are gonna end up costing. Got there, there. Okay, we got the Black March. Today I made money from a Yu-Gi-Oh card that cost $230. Holy crap! Even the base art is a tall order at 2059. Yeah, I mean I can go through all the Besagius and see what that's gonna add up to alone. That's kind of how I determine like the a box's value. Let's move chat box a little lower there so that it's a little out of the way. March of Wretched Sorrows. It costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled from your hand, and it deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, and you gain X life. That's not bad. It does get rid of your hand, which is kind of annoying, but Universal Surveillance, X and 3, improvise, draw X cards. So improvise is tap artifacts to put into the mana value. So that's going to be really good in things like Brago and Urza. Alternate art, invoke despair. That one's super cool. We've got invoke justice. Return target permanent from your graveyard to the battlefield, then distribute 4/1/1 counters among any number of creatures and/or vehicles target player controls. So you can use that as a bargaining chip because it's any player. And then Oboros X, a Ganjo Uprising, create X/2/2 white samurai creature tokens with vigilance. They gain menace and haste until end of turn. Each opponent creates X -1 2/2 white samurai creature tokens with vigilance. So interesting. Are these barely released? Yeah, they released today. And so I'm recording this for a YouTube video. We'll be posting this in about 3 days due to Twitch guidelines. Got Samurai, Construct. Hit me with a Hydrate. Thank you kindly. New pack, only a few left. Another Black Swamp. We got another Mindlink mech, but it's the normal one. Okay, Silk Guard. Put a 1/1 counter on each of up to X target creatures you control, auras, equipments, and modified creatures you control gain hexproof until end of turn. So it is a less good intervention. Another Surge Hacker mech. Brilliance Restoration, alternate art. We got one of these just earlier. And Kyrie, the Swirling Sky, is our third mythic of the pack. It's a 6/6 for 6, Flying Ward 3. When it dies, choose one. Return any number of target non-land permanents with a mana value 6 or less to their owner's hand. And mill 6 cards, then create up to 2 instant or sorcery cards from your... Or then return 2 instant or sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. Interesting. So, I don't see that being a particularly good commander, but it could be really interesting in the 99, where it's a board wipe for anything less than 6 CMC. If it were maybe 2 less CMC, it'd be really good. Grim, how's it going? We're down to the last 3 packs. What are these trash cards? Dude, I've got bank off of these cards already. I'll show you. We got... Look at this treasure token, dude. It's freaking sick. Alrighty. So this is one that's actually really interesting. Going good, fancy. Thank you. This is a 4/4 for 5 reach. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or enchantment card from among them, and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If you didn't put a card in your hand this way, you gain 4 life. This could be really interesting in an Enchantress deck, like Sithis. Yeah, it looks really nice. We're just going through. We're looking at the lands right now. We're looking at any common or uncommon that could be really interesting. Besides that, guess who just won third FNM? You did. All right, we got an interesting commander here. 4/4 for 4, legendary creature Ogre Demon. Sacrifice a creature, scry 2 for a black ability, and for a red, you can exile top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. When you exile a non-land card this way, Hidetsugu Devouring Chaos deals damage equal to the exiled card's mana value to any target. That seems just like a fun Rakdos value style deck. Iron Soul Enforcer is a 4/4 for 5 artifact creature human samurai. Whenever Iron Soul Enforcer or a commander you control attacks alone, return target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That plays really well with that one commander that we saw earlier. Titus, sorry, my browser is being fucked. You're good, dude. Don't worry about it. Okay. Jogun Defends the Temple. It's our 4th mythic here. I can't see anything too shitty Wi-Fi. I want to buy a whole box of Adventure of Forgotten Realms set. They should be a lot cheaper. You can probably do that. So the first part of the saga says create a 1/1 human green monk token that has add green. So you're getting a mana dork out of this already. Put a 1/1 counter, so you're creating modifications, and then you sack it and return it. Oh, that's interesting. 2/2 flyer. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay X. When you do, put X 1/1 counters on that creature. As long as you control 5 or more modified creatures, this card gets a +5/+5 and has trample. That could be really juicy in casual play. I will put that there, but I have no idea what this is. Somebody want to go and find out what this card is so I can figure out what this is? This is the 5th mythic. And it has Phyrexian mana in it, so I don't really know what it does, but I am fascinated to find out. it gave me it gave me a card I can't read. Which they did that once before in Strixhaven, but like they were in Japanese and I could kind of read them already, so it wasn't that big of a deal. They're $100. That's actually pretty cheap for a box. Selesnya Life Gain Land. Demir Rat Ninja, for the sake of Yuriko. It's Tamio Completed Sage. What does she do? 540 cards, yeah. Yeah, but I'm unemployed and a full-time student. Okay, now it's expensive. Ninjutsu abilities you activate cost one less to cast, and other ninja and rogue creatures you control get +1/+1. I mean, that just seems like an auto include in Yuriko. No reason not to. Got our mountain. Oh boy. +1, tap up to one target artifact or creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. -X. Okay. Exile target non-land permanent with mana value X or less from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of that card. And her -7, create Tamio's Notebook, a legendary colorless artifact token with spells you cast cost less to cast and draw a card. How much less to cast? That's super cool. And she starts out at 5. If you have Doubling Season out on the battlefield, you can alter right away and still have her on the battlefield. That's actually ridiculous. Cool version of that card I mentioned before right there. Thundering Raiju. It's a 3/3 for 4. 2 less to cast or tap to draw a card. Didn't copy over. Gotcha. Whenever Thundering Raiju attacks, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control, then Thundering Raiju deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of modified creatures you control other than Thundering Raiju. Very red, very aggressive. I really want to get a whole box set, though, so I can try and get an actual deck going, since I have a bunch of random cards from packs I bought from Steam friends. That's fair. I get that. We have a mono blue commander, legendary creature, Katsumasa the Animator, 3/3 for 4, flying, and for 3, that's a blue and 2. Until end of turn, target non-creature artifact you control becomes an artifact creature and gains flying. If it's not a vehicle, it has a base power and toughness of 1/1 until end of turn. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 3 target non-creature artifacts. So that's like playing hugely into the modular and all that stuff. I do have my favorite card from the set though. Oh, what was that? Tiamat? I remember us talking about that. Rizana Asari Commander. 3/3 for 3 with haste, and when it deals combat damage to a player, if it doesn't have an indestructible counter on it, put an indestructible counter on it. When combat damage is dealt to you, remove an indestructible counter. Huh. Okay. Interesting. Let's go! Kodama of the West Tree! They completed the set. It's a 3/3 for 3 with reach. Modified creatures you control have trample, and whenever modified creature you control deals combat damage to a player, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. That's Ramp City, baby, with artifacts. Okay, wow. I read Asari and thought Mass Effect. I know, I thought that too. I wasn't going to mention it, but I thought that too. So this is an interesting card. I'm going to go ahead and read it since it's a lot of text. It is a 4/4 for 5, 3 in Demir. When Kotose the Silent Spider enters the battlefield, exile target card other than a basic land card from an opponent's graveyard. Search that player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as that card and exile them. Then that player shuffles. For as long as you control Kotose, you may play one of the exiled cards, and you may spend mana as though it was mana of any color to cast it. This is not going to be good in Commander, but it could be really interesting in Modern, assuming that you can get enough ramp to actually cast it. Otherwise, it's that feels like a pretty dead card. Because you're looking for multiple copies of a card, and you're not going to find multiple copies of a card in Commander. They're all unique cards. Spirit Treasure, nice. We've got 4 mana white removal. Okay, not great. Got a reprint of Spell Pierce. Let's go. Okay. I kind of wanted that one too. Got a Shrine. You may pay one when you do. Target player mills X cards, where X is the number of shrines you control. There was a card that's like Shrine Tribal, but I'm not entirely positive about how that's going to function. All right. This one is a 4/3 for 3 Rat Pilot. Legendary creature. At the beginning of combat on your turn, return target vehicle card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. Vehicle stuff. It's really leaning into that mentality. Mindlink Mech. We got 2 of these before. Myojin Grim Betrayal. It's a 5/2 for 8. When it enters the battlefield, uh, it enters the battlefield with an indestructible counter on it. If you cast it from your hand, remove an indestructible counter from Myojin. Put onto the battlefield under your control all creature cards in all graveyards that were put from anywhere this turn. Oh, that's juicy. That's really juicy. So, let's say Navineral. Navineral is like you board wipe everything, you cast Navineral, you create a bunch of zombies. Or, alternatively, you cast this and you just steal everybody's stuff. Classic Esper. The Dragon Kami Reborn. It's a 3 mana enchantment saga. First and second chapters are you gain 2 life, look at the top 3 cards of your library, exile one of them face down with a hatching counter on it, and put the rest on the bottom of the library in a random order. Then you exile the saga, return to the battlefield under your control, and it's an egg. Okay. Whenever Dragon Kami's egg or dragon you control dies, you may cast a creature spell from among cards you own and exile with hatching counters on them without paying their mana cost. Interesting. Not entirely sure how good that's going to be. And the last one is a super fancy Lion Sash. We got one of these before. And that's the whole box there for you. So the stream's super short today. That's all I was going to do with it. I wanted to open the pack up for you guys, and it was really beneficial. So right now, if we look through all of these and we go through and grab out every single Beseiju that I got, these 3 cards alone are a little over $150. So with that in mind, that means that this box was incredibly lucrative. The box itself cost $230 with tax. So with all the other cards in play in mind, we've got Kodama of the West Tree. That's going to be a really popular commander for a little while. I would say that we got the right amount of value out of this. Yeah, so thanks for watching. I'll catch you all next time, and peace.